What is up, lovers of budget cars and bikes? Welcome back to the channel and a last video, I think probably, on the BMW R NINE T. I've pretty much done all the mods that I had planned to do on the bike and wanted to do. I was going to do a couple of little things like some guards and new levers, that kind of stuff. But if I'm honest, the levers on this are really comfortable anyway. They're black, so you know, they kind of go in line with the colour scheme of the bike. I just don't see the point in spending any more money. I think I've spent the money that I wanted to spend on the things that I wanted to buy, if that makes sense. Some of them, as you will have seen from the previous video, worked out quite well. Some of them not quite so much. That is a sound you never get bored of. That Akropovich, once you take the baffles out, is just a glorious, glorious sound. The bizarre thing is, I never really got on with the GS 1200, the kind of touring one. And I kind of thought that was down to the engine being a little bit vanilla, a bit dull, a bit lifeless in that respect, a bit characterless maybe. But considering this is also a BMW 1200cc boxer engine, the difference is just night and day. It's a glorious sound. As I said, there's a sound that you just never get bored of hearing. You know, it does turn you into a bit of a hooligan, if I'm honest. I do find myself kind of blamming around all these B roads just because you can, and just because it sounds so bloody good. And this bike is just such a joy to ride. I mean, the gear changes are smooth, the clutch is light, the steering is nimble. It's got the steering damper, obviously, which helps a lot with that. And with a couple of mods that I've done, plus the Akropovich, I just think it looks like nothing else I've ever owned. In my mind, the BMW R NINE T in this guise with these mods is like probably the coolest bike you can own. I don't normally gush about a bike, as you know. I mean, there's been a few that I really did enjoy owning and I've loved riding, etc, etc, but I've never gushed about a bike as much as I have about this. And truth be known, I don't often keep my bikes more than a month or two, and I've had this for getting on for 3 months now, and I've been out on it several times, and I'm really, really enjoying it. There's nothing I don't like about the bike, which is just unheard of in my life. If there was going to be any kind of negative on the bike, that is purely a personal one, and that is that there's not really many options for luggage. So if you wanted to go away on a trip away, so even for a weekend, it would be a little bit difficult, but not impossible. Well, I think if you put a rucksack on and maybe some kind of rear seat bag of some description, obviously we can't do that on this version at the moment because we've got the seat hump on, which I am going to show you when we get off. We're going to head over to Mevagissey. If you know Cornwall at all, you'll know exactly where that is. It's not far from St Austell. Beautiful, beautiful little fishing port. So we're going to head down there. We're probably going to do a little ride on time lapse because I don't want to talk to you all the way there because it's not exactly around the corner, but it's not too far away. So if you're interested in that, keep watching. We'll do a little time lapse all the way down to Mevagissey. Then I'm going to jump off, take some photographs just for my own personal use, as it were. And we'll talk about the mods and the final thoughts, as it were, on this bike, because I don't think there's much more I can tell you about it apart from how much I love it. And then we'll also discuss what my plans are for it. So stand by for a bit of time lapse. We're going to head down to Mevagissey. See me trying to finish off this video becoming really annoying, because not only are there people wandering past, there are people driving past as well now. But we are in Mevagissey. We've just jumped off and we're headed to my beautiful little spot up here, which I took some pictures of. A Triumph Speed Triple 1050 a few years ago. It is obviously quite a busy spot, but we're going to try and do what we can. There it is. There is Mevagissey. Stunning little fishing port there, or an old fishing port. Really beautiful part of Cornwall. If you haven't been down there, I really suggest you do. Some lucky bugger is building a house over there. Can you see that? That's a lottery winner. It's got to be, isn't it? Anyway, back to the BMW R NINE T. What are my final thoughts on it? I love it. I really do keep gushing about this bike. There is nothing I don't like. The brakes are good. The gearbox is good. The suspension could do with a bit of tweaking, but you can get aftermarket suspension, which will help you out with that. Talking of aftermarket stuff, there are the little engine guards that I put on. You will have seen me do that in a previous video. Do I recommend them? Yes, I do, because they are quite sturdy and solid, and I think they will offer you some kind of protection, and they were relatively cheap, around about 70 quid. The seat hump, as you can see, we finally managed to fit that. My biggest mistake there was basically trying to fit it with this seat taken off. What you need to actually do is keep this seat on, so you unbolt it from here, basically the passenger seat, take that off, and this effectively slides in underneath the rider's seat there and then bolts in, so it can't go anywhere. I mean, it's not the most solid thing you're ever going to see in your life, but it shouldn't fly off because it's bolted in at the back here anyway. I mean, I could do something. I'm sure there's a way to get that on there slightly better. And there's the pad I was talking about. When you pull back hard on the throttle, that really does kind of offer you some support there, which is an added bonus. So that's, yeah, I'd recommend that. I think that was about 50 quid off AliExpress as well. The bar and mirrors, brilliant, really good. They came from Tech Bike Parts. They're just quality. I mean, you can feel them. You know, there's nothing cheap and nasty about these. They are just Tech Bike Parts, so you know you're going to get quality there. The screen was 18 quid, 19 quid posted, I think, including the VAT, and it's held on just here, as you can see, with those two bolts. Nothing to it really. Took me a little bit of time to work it out. If you have bought one of these and you haven't worked it out, give me a shout in the comments. I'll run you through it. But apart from that, I haven't really done much else. But as I said, I can't find much to dislike about this bike. One of the things I really do like, and it may seem like such a stupid thing, the reservoirs for the clutch and brake fluid. They've got this kind of coffin effect here, this flat tops. I think every bike manufacturer should do that. If you look at something like the BMW S1000R, beautiful kind of looking cockpit area around here, but then it's got these bloody enormous, great dangling brake reservoirs and clutch fluid reservoirs, and they just make the whole front end of the bike look odd in my mind. I hate seeing that. Ducati do it as well, but I think BMW have done a really nice job with these reservoirs up here. Simple little thing, makes all the difference to me. There is the tank pad I was telling you about as well, the R NINE T tank pad that I bought off eBay. Really like that. Such good quality stuff there. It is shorter than I expected it to be, but it will do what it's supposed to do, and that is to protect the tank from your zip on your jacket, that kind of stuff. That wasn't cheap. That was around about 22, 23 quid, I think, including the shipping from, I think it was Lithuania or Poland. I'll put a link obviously in the description for that. Highly recommended. Don't buy a cheap carbon fibre one from AliExpress. They're just garbage. There's no stickiness to them. They're paper thin, absolute garbage. Get yourself one of those from the link in the description. I think you'll be surprised at the quality and you'll be happy with it overall. So what are the plans with the bike? I don't know. I really like this bike. I'm not going to spend any more money on it per se with aftermarket parts. I don't think it needs it. I think that's exactly the way it should look and sound, and I'm happy with that. But winter's coming, and you know I hate having a bike sat outside, especially a beautiful bike sat outside rotting away in the winter, because I don't have a garage. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. What I might do is what I often do, is put it up for such a price that if somebody offers it to me and I'm going to make a couple of quid out of it, I'll sell it, because I can always buy another one, can't I, and do the same things again, maybe a more modern version with a digital and analog dash as opposed to just the analog on here. But that is it. Obviously the tail tidy as well, I forgot to mention that. I didn't put that on. That is it for this one. That has been the story of the BMW R NINE T. I think it's, well, especially this one offers incredible value. This came into me around about £5,000, but it has done 26,000 miles.
That's the reason why. But it's got great service history, and it's a BMW. This engine, the 1200 engine, will do 100,000 miles, so it's really not anything to worry about. Should you buy a higher mileage R9 T? Why not? Would you be happy to buy an R1200 GS with 26,000 miles on it? Of course you would. You'd think that was low mileage. So why not buy an R9 T with 26,000 miles? Save yourself a load of money and still get a great bike. If you haven't subscribed, then please consider doing that. Really, really, really helps the channel to grow, as I'm sure you know. Give the video a like, a thumbs up, all that kind of good stuff, and share it on social media if you would as well. Don't forget to follow me on social media, Instagram and Facebook. We've got dedicated pages there. Links are in the description. And look out for another video on something else in a couple of weeks' time. Not sure where we're going next, but we have got a car project going on at the moment, so we may be into that. We may be into another bike. I may even do another video on this. You never know if I decide to keep it. I've got no plans to sell it because it does everything I want it to do, apart from I can't go touring on it. That is the only bugbear for me. That's the only negative for me, if I'm honest. So that's it. As I said, if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. Give the video a like, a share and a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And we'll catch up in a couple of weeks. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope you enjoyed the series. And we'll catch up soon. Take care now.